Welcome back to the Pat Experience. Today we're going to be talking about credit cards and are they really as bad as some people may make them out to be? As always, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, comment down below, tell me what you guys think about credit cards, and tell me what credit cards you guys like to use. The biggest misconception when it comes to credit cards is that a lot of people think credit cards are the way to accrue debt, buy a bunch of things that they don't really have the money for. But I really disagree. I think credit cards are a huge financial advantage to you and one of the biggest ways you could help build your credit very quickly if you're smart about it. I think the biggest mistake for most people is actually waiting too long to get your first credit card. I didn't get my first credit card until I was 22 years old, and I got it at PNC Bank because that's the bank in which my bank account was held in because I was, at college doing all of this. And I didn't realize until later on in life that I realistically should have gotten my first credit card when I was 18 years old. The day I turned 18, I should have walked into a bank and applied for a credit card to start getting my credit going and working for me as soon as physically possible. The lucky thing for me, and not to my knowledge, my father actually had me as an authorized user on his credit card, which I had no idea that it would actually be tracking and increasing my credit score every time he bought something, I bought something on his credit card, and he ended up paying the bill on time at the end of the month. That affected my credit and allowed me to start off with a little bit higher of a credit score than many people would be just starting out. Apply for a credit card as soon as you are of age. 18 years old, bam, get a credit card. A lot of you are probably thinking right now, well, I'm past that age. One thing you could do is for any of your children, dependents, whoever are not of age, you could, like I said before, my dad got me as an authorized user and it helped build my credit score from the very beginning. You have younger dependents, get them on your credit card. The secret is you don't actually have to give them the credit card if you're saying, hey, I don't really trust them. I think they'll go out and spend a bunch of money on my credit card. That's fine. You don't actually have to physically give them the credit card. You could put it in your nightstand, put it in a dresser, put it in your closet, safety lockbox, whatever you want. That line of credit's still open to them. So every time you buy things on your credit card, you pay your credit card on time and in full, your dependents will start reaping the benefits of that and their credit score will start stacking up. So by the time they actually hit 18 years of age, they're already well above what their peers are looking at. Adding an authorized user, there are some requirements sometimes. Most banks don't have an age requirement. So realistically, as soon as your child's born, you could open up a credit card in their name and they start earning credit and start building their credit from day one all the way up till they're 18 years old. There are some banks though, like I said, that do have age requirements. Barclays and American Express, you're required to be at least 13 years old to be an authorized user on a credit card. For US Bank, you're required to be 16, and for Discover, you're required to be 15 years of age. It's a huge trick to help any loved one that you have start accruing credit very early and have them set pretty much for life. Now we can move on to some of the mistakes, and two big mistakes I believe people make with credit cards. That's not paying their balance on time and in full, and the second one is also being afraid to open other credit cards due to credit inquiry. The most important out of these two is definitely paying your credit card bill off on time. Your credit could drop as much as 180 points if you have one late payment or if you miss a payment or anything like that. At least put the bare minimum on the credit card to pay it off on time. The second thing that we're talking about that is we're always paying off in full because the credit card is allowing us to use their money. We don't want them to charge us to use their money. Why would we do that? Credit cards have some of the highest interest rates sitting around 16 to 30%. So if you don't pay your credit card off in full, you're starting to get charged that interest rate on any of the charges that you already bought. Why would you spend more money on the money that you already spent? The next thing is not being afraid to open up other lines of credit. It's pretty normal to have anywhere from 3 to 5 credit cards. What this allows you to do is have more available credit to you. So what it does is it in sense lowers your credit utilization. All right, for example, let's say you're using $1,000 of a $10,000 line of credit. You're using 10% of that overall credit. Say you get access to another credit card and that has another $10,000 credit limit. You're still only using $1,000 of the available credit that you have, but you now have $20,000 of available credit instead of $10,000 of available credit. So if you think about it, your credit utilization goes from 10% to 5%, all from doing nothing. You're probably thinking now, like some people I know do, well, Pat, opening up a new line of credit, doesn't that hit your credit? Isn't there a hard inquiry there? Won't that drop my credit score? Yes, but it won't drop your credit score tremendously, and it normally only drops your credit score for about 3 months, maybe 2 to 5 points, depending on how many inquiries you already have on your credit report. But increasing your available credit and decreasing your credit utilization will actually increase your overall credit anywhere from 15 to 20 points. So think about it. If we're adding 20 points and we take away 5 points, we're adding a net of 15 points. Wouldn't we want to do that? You may be sitting there saying, well, I have great credit. Why do I even need to use a credit card? I could just pay everything off in full with cash. Using my debit card, I don't have to worry about a balance or anything at the end of the month. Simply for the fact that credit cards come with a whole bunch of perks. Number one perk is zero liability. So if you're going around buying things on your debit card in cash, all that stuff, if your debit card or cash gets stolen, if cash gets stolen, we know, well, you lost it. If your debit card gets stolen and they start buying stuff with your debit card out of your bank account, you lose money out of that bank account unless your bank obviously covers a certain amount from your bank account. But credit cards have zero liability because in sense you're using the bank's money to pay for things. You're not using your own money. And then you pay them back at the end of the term. So what you could do is you buy things, have zero liability. If you lose your credit card, somebody goes and buys something on your credit card, you claim that you never bought that, they refund everything and take it off your credit card bill. You don't have to worry about it. Another perk is points or cash back or anything like that. Some cards will give you 2% of whatever you just paid for just back just for using their card. And being able to carry it, pay it off, you earn rewards points, rewards dollars, or whatever. So you're essentially getting paid for buying stuff you would have already bought to begin with. Also, a big thing with some credit cards is you get things called welcome bonuses. So there are some credit cards that are out there offering you get $200 back if you spend $500 after opening this credit card in 6 months, 3 months, or whatever it is, whatever the offer is. So if you're going to be spending $500 in the next 3 to 6 months, whatever the term period is, anyway, opening that credit card is giving you essentially a $200 off coupon. This brings me to the point that I brought up earlier, where having 3 to 5 credit cards is pretty normal and reasonable in my opinion. Not one credit card catches everything. Some credit cards can have 1.5 to 2% back, and that's great. But there are some credit cards that have increased points in certain categories. There are credit cards out there that'll have 3% back in dining, 3% back at grocery stores, and personally, that's where I spend my most money. There are also credit cards out there that have all the way up to 5% back in gas if that's your biggest spend on that credit card that month. With these points and rewards, it allows you to get free money, essentially, and free points for spending money on things you would have already bought in the first place. I'll be making future videos on what credit cards are best for certain categories, whether they have annual fees, and whether the perks for those categories cover the annual fees, depending on how much you spend. That'll be in a later video. Cashback is great for most people who just want to use their credit card and sit and not worry about it and get essentially free money coming in. In my opinion, the best benefit are these rewards points, whether they're through Chase, Capital One, American Express, whoever you're really using. The reason why I think these rewards points are the best is when you're using cash back, you're essentially getting 1 cent per point, which is kind of the average. But when you use membership rewards points for travel, certain things that you get through their membership portal, you could get anywhere from 1.5 to 2 cents per point using it through their portal. And also with membership rewards points, they have this ability to go to transfer partners and you could get upwards of 10 cents per point, 20 cents per point when you use these transfer partners. I'll be talking about all this in a different video, so stay tuned. As we could see here, credit cards can be a huge benefit to us financially, and we should see them as an asset and not a liability, simply because we are going to pay off our credit card in full and we're going to pay off our credit card on time. Doing these two things will allow us to reap the benefits of what credit cards have to offer and not carrying a balance over from month to month to month. Doing this will allow us to have anywhere from 3 to 5 credit cards in our wallet that have benefits at certain categories, which we could choose to spend on certain times in certain places and start racking in that cash back and that free money that the credit card company is willing to give us. As always, pay your credit cards on time and in full. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below what your favorite credit card is, what credit cards you want me to review, and in a future video, we could talk about it. Thank you for hanging out. See you guys in the next one.